time it's all or nothing, and I ain't playing around. They tried to overlook me cause I wasn't in the in crowd. Well, I'm back at it, so you know it's going down, and I'm all up in their face, so they got.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to 5-Star Fridays. I am your co-host with the utmost, Mr. Fish of Mr. Fish Comics, the fastest working man in indie comics, the mountainous Mr. Fish, the crazy Uncle Fish. Not quite as many nicknames as Tony Clapper usually has, but, you know, I'm doing the best I can with what I got over here. Tony is out today. Ryan is supposedly on his way. We'll see. And the fabulous Fee had to reset her computer, so hopefully she will be in soon. But in the meantime, we've got my buddies Anthony Castro and Lucas Scheffel here, and we're going to hang out with them today. Anthony, tell people where they can find you and who you are and what you're doing, man.
My name is Anthony Castro. I am the creator of DMW Comics and the Bad Wabbit series. You guys can find me at dmwcomics.com. And I have a Kickstarter that's going on right now, but I'm sure we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Lucas, how are you doing, man? What are you up to and what do you do?
I'm good, Fish. My name's Lucas. I'm from down under in Australia. I'm a writer, creator of a small comic book company called Angry Fred Comics, and we mainly delve into action adventure with a little bit of sci-fi in that sort of genre. And I've got a Kickstarter as well that's currently going really gangbusters at the moment, so I'm keen to share that too.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. You've blown past your goal already. That is really cool. I am going to drop a link to that in the comments. Let's see. All right, there's that one. And let me get the link to Bad Wabbit because I meant to have this stuff ready to go already, and I didn't. So I am doing it now on the fly. And I just heard somebody come in the background, so give me 1 second, and I will be there. Whoever is waiting on us, but you know what? We're getting it done. Let's see. It's fabulous Fee. Break herself in because she knows what she's doing. How are you doing, Fee?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. This is my buddy Anthony Castro, and this is my buddy Lucas Scheffel here. And we are going to be talking about their stuff. Hopefully Ryan's going to be in soon, and we can talk about some of the entertainment news and stuff that's been going on. And all that, because he's always excited to talk about the goings on, and he knows more about it than I do. I'm too busy making comments.
Certainly. And I feel so bad because every time my laptop wants to crash, I don't know why it doesn't like Fridays. It's like when I want to do something, it's like, should I restart now? And I'm like, no, please.
And then when you restart, it's like, oh, you know what? Let's get those updates out of the way that you've been waiting on for a month.
Like, please.
Every time. Oh man, it never fails. Like about every fourth week, my computer's just like, you know what? Nah, we don't have microphones. Camera that was working earlier today, nah. I can't find it.
What is it?
I don't know where it is now. Have to reload once or twice at least. I'm so glad I got a new laptop. It seems to be working okay for now.
Good.
While we are waiting on Ryan, let's go ahead and look at some of these campaigns. Let's see.
Check it out.
All right. The first one we got up here is Bad Wabbit 4.
Oh, man. Bad Wabbit. We're so close, man. We're so close. So close.
Why?
I just need that one little push for the last days.
I don't know if you saw last week's double episode that we did where we ran my superhero role-playing game, but I was thinking about you the whole time because I have a mutant fox as one of the bad guys on the bad guy team that they were fighting. They only saw her for a split second, but I was thinking about you the whole time because of the fox pirate that you got in here. And frankly, that's the thing I'm looking forward to most.
I've had a lot of women. I've had a lot of women write me about Foxy and thanking me that it's not a one-dimensional character, that she has a lot of layers. And like every character in here has layers. of layers. I wanted to make sure that every character has an extremely unique backstory to themselves, and I try to tell that backstory throughout the series. And it's you know, I think it's going to be a really good series that people can dig their teeth into and like become emotionally attached to each character. But if you don't know, Bad Wabbit is a post-apocalyptic dystopian future where humans have pretty much destroyed the environment with pollution, war, nuclear waste, and all kinds of stuff like that. And as they died out, animals have morphed into these anthropomorphic animals. And they, you know, at some point they did exist side by side with humans, so they took on human traits. But, you know, humans have died out. It's probably like 1,000 years by now. And they are living in the waste, basically the ruins of human civilization, just trying to make a living and stuff. And Wabbit, he has a very traumatic past, which we go into slowly throughout the series. And he is just basically just trying to make it in this world. And he got to a point with everything he's been through that he just moves out to the middle of nowhere in his little shitty trailer, drinks himself to sleep, and tries to just, you know, get by day to day. And then he gets forced by Foxy on this adventure that, unbeknownst to him, is going to change him as a I guess a rabbit, and change his world at the same time. And he meets Toxic Pig. I'm not in my room right now, but I have a plushy pig, Toxic Pig. But he's like, if you guys know anything about Lord of the Rings, he's like the Samwise. He believes in Wabbit, and he is constantly pushing him to do, you know, the next thing he knows he needs to do. And Wabbit's like, Wabbit, his attitude is very much like Die Hard with a Vengeance. You know, where he gets pulled into this crap. He's hungover. He doesn't want to even do anything with it. And he's just like, you know, and he gets pulled into it. And Wabbit's a good guy, man. He's just, you know, he's had a rough life. So it's one of those reluctant hero stories, and it's a redemption story as well, because he, you know, the whole point of the story is his redemption. So it's a very cool story. It's got a lot of really neat characters, a lot of unique characters. I've been told multiple times, I can't even tell you how many times I've been told that this should be a TV series. And I'm like, yeah, knock on my door. TV series? Yeah, I'll do it. Let's do
Somebody
it.
wants to. Come on. Let's get it.
Yeah, I mean, and the world he lives in is so open. It's open world. I mean, it's got everything you could imagine: dragons, fairies, gnomes, but in a reality sense of it. You know, like they evolved from something. So, like, I have a fairy that's coming up in this new series, this new thing, but her species evolved from like dragonflies.
Oh, cool.
So it's like everything evolved from something. But it's a really good series, and I'm not saying that just because I wrote it. I like, if I had just read it, and was like,
you're completely impartial.
Yeah, I had no bias at all.
No.
But yeah, it's a great series, and I've been, you know, I'm trying to get it on, you know, like a TV series or something like that. That's the ultimate.
I love that. The TV series, like, it's gonna happen, you know, it's like kind of like those things and they say, you know, you attract what you fear. It's like, TV series of Bad Rabbit, you know, it's like it might just rush to you that way.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can be able to get that going because it does look really cool.
Well, my artist, Tommy Guns, is by trade an animator.
Oh wow!
He does like anime, and he, you know, climbed down off that amazing pedestal he lives on to do this artwork with me on this comic book. But he did say that if we could get all the 21 issues done, that he would love to do like a series, an actual animated series of this.
I know.
So
The artwork looks amazing, especially where Wabbit's on the plane like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's amazing, like the fight.
The motion and
Yeah.
stuff that he
Yeah,
captures in it
really
is
nice,
really
exactly.
good.
Yeah, he puts together the action so well, and like when I write it, I have no idea that it's gonna look that good. And when he,
And take the
hey, yeah, he's like, hey, look at this page, and I'm like, oh, wow, what'd you do? That's amazing.
I love that.
And you know, I grew up in the '80s, so like I grew up with like Indiana Jones and Top Gun and all the like really cool action movies and the Aliens and all that stuff, Predator. So I bring a little of that in every issue. So like it's like book 2 is very Indiana Jones.
It's nice though. The flow of it's really cool. The artwork is really nice though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's-
and
it's
one
gonna
thing that
be-
I'm noticing more and more, like the more indie books I read, especially here lately, the more I really appreciate when somebody has the skills so that you don't get lost on the page. You know where you are in relation to where you were a minute ago. Everything, like when the camera turns, I know where I am. I know we didn't just go to a different place.
Yeah.
He definitely knows what he's doing.
Well, me and him
Yeah.
usually sit there and we'll hash out an environment. Like this is where it takes place. This is what it looks like, and he will draw the entire scene out as like a big room, like the room, you know. And so we know where everybody is in relation to what we're talking about. Like, you know, Wabbit jumped on this, and it's like, okay, well, this was here, and so you know exactly where you are in that room or that scenery. So we do it very, very meticulously.
Yeah, it shows, man. It's really awesome. It looks great, man. I'm totally confident you're going to hit gold because this is a really cool looking book. I can't wait to read it myself. I'm a little ashamed that it took me this long to find out about it and catch on, but I'm in now.
Yeah.
Speaking
I
of,
feel like at this point, it's like it's better to know about it than to never not. You know,
Yeah.
Like now you caught
Oh,
on. You're on the
man.
train now, so
that's what
buckle
I'm
up.
saying. At least I know now. At least I can do better going forward. Speaking
Exactly.
of going forward, let's check out Ned Kelly, The Five Revolvers graphic novel.
Oh yeah.
Lay
Yeah.
it on us, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So Ned Kelly, The Five Revolvers is a 64-page comic book graphic novel, and it deals with the main character Ned Kelly, who's an Australian bushranger. So for you guys, if you don't know what a bushranger is, it's basically an outlaw for you guys.
Oh yeah.
So in the 1880s in Australia, we had a guy here called Ned Kelly who was of Irish descendants, and he got a little bit badgered by the cops, the police here back in the day, and he took upon it himself to dress up in armor with a bunch of like his brothers and his friends and sort of take them on. It's become very mythological in the Australian folklore, and so my story takes that character of Ned Kelly but throws him into like a multiverse, and he's like the alpha in this multiverse, but I bring along a bunch of other alphas who are 4 other bushrangers who are a part of Australian history, named Ben Hall, Captain Thunderbolt, and Mad Dog Morgan. And I kind of throw these guys in a room and see how they react to one another, and obviously they don't get along. But in this fractured dimension, they're basically trying to just live life and survive. And then one day, someone comes to them, a community comes to them and says, "Look, we need some help because we've got this tyrannical judge named Judge Bloodstone who's found the secrets of the 5 revolvers and is about to unlock a portal that could gain him access to some gold that can help change the dimension that they're in." So reluctantly, they all sort of band together and go on their own sort of journey of redemption as well to fight, I guess, the evils in this world, and sort of like relook at themselves and see some of the things that they did in their past lives and sort of come to fruition. And I actually weave in some interesting Australian history into this. Like, it's very subtle. If you know the Australian history, you'd get it when you're reading the book, but obviously it's not, front and foremost. But yeah, it's like it's one of these sort of typical. I guess you could say like Magnificent Seven. You know, that sort of vibe, sort of the Western movie vibe going on there. Because you know, when I was growing up, my dad showed me a lot of Western films, and I was like, I got really taken away by that sort of stuff. But it's got that. I know Anthony, you talked about Indiana Jones. Like my favorite Indiana Jones film is The Last Crusade. That was my introduction to it. I know everyone loves Raiders. But for me, it was like just that relationship between Sean Connery and Harrison Ford, like that father-son thing going on, and I've kind of instilled that into this as well. So,
I loved listening to them bicker and stuff, and like you know, bringing in that absolute family vibe of just how huge a grudge you can hold over some of the littlest things sometimes. You know, like we called the dog Indiana. Like, I mean, oh God, I just loved it so much.
Junior. Can't believe what you just did.
So I've got that sort of, I guess, heart and soul weaved into this. But like I said, there's Australian mythology and historical elements in there, and I'm trying to bring bushrangers, Australian outlaws back, because here in Australia we tend to forget that part of our history, and we kind of sort of push it away, especially with the way artistic things are made here, because we have government bodies that sort of give us funding to make things, whether it's film, you know, television, that sort of thing. So this has been very well received by just random people, you know, literally on the street saying, "Oh man, I've always wanted to see what you could do if you mixed Australian bush ranger history with like sci-fi imagination." And I think I've really
it kind of sounds like its own folklore in its own.
It is, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. It's cool.
When I was growing up, I used to love reading about outlaws, Billy the Kid. You know, all that stuff, and it was just like so cool to think that these guys existed for real and did this kind of stuff. And Ned Kelly was one of the ones that I used to read about, and that's when I saw Ned Kelly, I was like, "Wow, is it the same?"
I've seen him in so many like crappy little like TV reenactments of like, you know, historical bad guys of the Wild West and whatnot, and you never forget seeing somebody clunking around in that armor.
Iconic.
And you know, that was so cool. I mean, it was hooky looking too, but it was awesome. Like just the fact somebody did it, like somebody did it. It was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a shot, and it worked. And oh, I love it so much.
I mean,
it's cool that it sort of transcends internationally as well. Like I wasn't sure if, you know, I guess it's so the armor. So that's cool. That's so awesome.
I probably wouldn't have recognized the name, but I absolutely recognized the armor when I saw it. Yeah. And that was, I was like, oh yeah.
That's awesome.
That's what I thought was cool, because I was like, I know the armor. I saw the picture, and I was like, that's Ned Kelly. And then I saw, Ned Kelly. Oh yeah, that's Ned Kelly.
That is Ned Kelly.
And I think that's the cool thing about art and stories, is just like how it kind of transcends over lines, or they're like countries or wherever you are. It's just like, it has this really great way of imprinting on us to be like, wait a minute, I know this character. And then it's like, once you find it, it's just like, oh yeah, and it's like this whole core memory unlocked type of thing, and it's just this fun experience in and of itself, which is really awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I keep thinking about when another Australian film like Mad Max came out back in the 70s.
Oh man.
And I didn't, like, I was doing research, and I was like, the Japanese fell in love with the character because he kind of connected to a samurai, and then there was other countries where he's like a lone warrior, and I was like, it's weird how, you know, like you say, how characters transcend.
Like he definitely hits that like Wild West outlaw kind of vibe, you know, or like wandering gunman kind of vibe for us in America. And you know, oh man,
it connects to something emotional, doesn't it? It's awesome.
Huge Mad Max fan.
Love Mad Max. Mad Max is awesome. I love it too. So like my my artist Vika that I'm working with, she lives in Ukraine. I couldn't have picked an artist in probably one of the craziest countries at the moment, but she's awesome to work with.
Nice and stable, easy to get a hold of all the time. No communications issues, I'm sure. Like, oh yeah.
Exactly. I picked a doozy on that one, but So I'm working with her, you know, bringing the pages to life, and I'm very detailed in my scripts, and she kind of hates me for it because every panel I'm like describing everything, and she's like, slow down, Lucas. Like, you know, I think just this line here of your description sort of amplifies what we need to say in the panel. Like, and I'm like, you're right. We don't need to know about the green bowl in the background. That makes no sense.
Thorough. You're very thorough. It's okay. Okay.
I am. I'm very thorough. Probably too thorough. But, so I'm working with her to bring the visuals to life, and I've got a colorist. He's in Uruguay, and then I've got a letterer who's in Sydney, who's close to me. So, someone close to home. But this project's very interesting. I was talking about government funding here before. Last year, I got accepted into a program in Australia called Creative Australia Match Lab. And it was really unique. They picked like 100 different projects, and I think only 20 of us got in, and I was one of them. And they flew me down to Melbourne. Oh, thank you. They flew me down to Melbourne for a 2-day workshop to talk about fundraising in the arts. Like, for me, like sitting on my computer at home, I didn't realize there was so many avenues that you just go ask people to help you out. And it was really inspiring. And doing that workshop, what happened was I pitched that I was going to raise $5,000 Australian to sort of make this book. And doing the workshop, what's happened is I've reached the $5,000 Australian target. The Australian government's going to come in now and match every dollar for that, so I'll get another 5,000, which is really, it's a really cool incentive in this country. Cool. They have little things like that. And I've blown over my initial funding goal. So now I'm just sort of seeing how far I can push it. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Now this is something I wanted to talk about because this is brilliant. I love this idea. I need to pick your brain on this one, but I wanted to bring it up on camera and not in our big long conversation we've been having since you have to be on the show.
I like it.
The temporary tattoo idea is brilliant. I freaking love that.
There's a reason why I picked this. So in Australia, there's a lot of like people that have Ned Kelly tattoos. There's a certain demographic of Australia that, you know, really dig Ned Kelly, and they go hard out and they put him on their sleeve or their chest. And there are biker gangs that still ride around and they have, you know, insignias and so forth.
Wow.
And it's just I thought this was a cool thing to tap into because it's like it's still kind of like goes into that Australian mythology. But I was thinking about what sort of reward can I create that's lightweight. I can still post it. It's not bulky, and I've got
goes
trading
flat
cards
in a mailer with everything else. That's thinking smart right there.
It's no weight at all.
Really
and I was like, and I can get a design done for relatively inexpensive. And I was like, wow, what can I do here? And I was like, I was doing research. I was like, there's this really weird myth around there. Is like if you get a Ned Kelly tattoo, your lifespan is sort of shortened. I think it's just a myth. But you know, I'm not trying to put that on anyone here or curse anyone or anything. But I was like, maybe I can play into that. So that's how I sort of came up with that. Was one, it was sort of like, I want something lightweight but gives extra value. I want something really cool and unique. And it's got me some people are like, I backed this because of the temporary tattoo.
That's hilarious.
I was like,
it's really tempting to pay to get it shipped over here just to get that tattoo because that's so clever. I love that idea.
The ribbon and everything. I just like it. It gives that same, like that one. It's like you have this mom with the heart. Like I like that.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's right.
And
I have to get this rabbit and toxic pig tattoos done.
Saying, like, I've got an image that I made for Alice Lost in Wonderland that has her broken sword and it's got this ribbon around it. I'm like, oh my God, that would make such an awesome tattoo. Like, because I was designing it to look like one. And I was like, oh, that would be so cool to do.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Man. It sort of opened up another avenue for you guys. Like,
wow.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's why I like meeting other creators because they have so many different ideas. And then, you know, it transfers to the next and to the next and the next thing you know, man, it's like, you know, we're all helping each other get further. And
that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Like we just, just coming together and sharing those, like you say, sharing those different ideas. And like, oh, that's a cool idea. And I can do this. I can do that. Yeah.
And
Yes.
See, those are the kind of guys that I want to have on my team. Those are the kind of guys that I want to make friends with and hang out with. Like, that's part of why I liked Anthony, because he was so easy to hang out and talk with and share ideas and talk about stuff and be willing to say, like, hey, I tried this. Maybe this didn't work so well. Maybe this worked great. Like, you know, a lot of people won't do that. A lot of people will be like, oh, yeah, I did X, Y, Z. How'd that go? And to just like,
Crickets.
no, I'm not gonna give you my secrets, or admit that I screwed up, or tell you that it worked great, because then you're gonna do it, and people aren't gonna want to buy my tchotchke because you're doing it too. Like, man, if I figure something out, I'm telling anybody who wants to know, man. I will lay it out there for everybody, because I want to help.
Because the fundraising part of that is there's so many options that a lot of people don't know, and of course, like grants, but of course it's so great when it comes to places where they're able to do like company matches and things like that. That's phenomenal. That's the first time I've ever heard. Like, I've always heard company matching and fundraising, but to be able to actually match that on top of the goal that you raise, like, that is such a huge thing for anyone that wants to be able to expand their, you know, creative, reach or anything. That's incredible.
I encourage people watching this, if you have the ability to go out and match, or, you know, get a grant of some sort in your country, wherever it is, please just go out and do it and apply. Don't be afraid to apply. I was afraid to apply, and I thought, I'm not worthy of this. Like, I haven't got much behind me. Yeah, exactly. But my friend, he was like, no, you're gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna help you. And
good on that.
I totally forgot about it. One night he messaged me. He's like, you've been accepted. I'm like, what? I was about to go to bed, and he's like, check your email, you idiot. Like, you know,
and like, the thing is, there's a lot of them out there. I didn't realize until my buddy Sarah was letting me in on it, and she was like, yeah, go check it out. And I mean, like, every state has different grants and stuff that you can apply for things. And then there's all kinds of different ones. Like, you know, there's grants for female business owners and people of color, and like, there's all kinds of different categories of grants for people in different situations to help out. Man, absolutely something.
I've applied myself. I've applied for a few, but I haven't got picked for any. But I am definitely definitely on my to go.
Definitely like try it out, because I know locally. My nose is tickling. Okay, sorry, but. When you go to like a library or something, you can search like for grants, and there's so many things based on like projects. It's like, it depends on what it is, what the grantees are awarding. But I've seen anything from like, if you want to make your art like a public, you know, thing, and put it somewhere in a community area or a playground or something like that, you can get a grant for that and be able to get funded and get that exposure. Like, the options really are endless, and it just depends on what they're providing, but just apply. And I think
so many of them don't have anybody apply for them, or don't have anybody apply for them that's really doing that thing. Like, I mean, like, how many people are out there looking for grants for publishing, you know, in Arkansas? Like, you get a lot better chance of hitting that one than, you know, something else.
So most of these funding bodies have a budget there that they allocate for the year. So it's like they have to. You know,
they have to get rid of it by that time, because like, they have to use it or lose it, you know. So it's just like, it's literally free money out there for the taking for people who happen to fill the requirements.
Do the research and get in there.
So what you're really saying is I need to go and find some grants that are about to run out of time and apply for them.
And especially look now, because the fiscal year ends in like June, and depending on how some people or some companies operate, they might really have some extra money from their budget that they allocated for the fiscal year that you just be like, come in and be like, hey.
That's why the summer's so busy here in Arkansas on the highways. They got to use up all that highway money before the year runs out for them, and so they're out there fixing everything at the last minute just to make sure they use up all that money, because if they don't use it, they don't get it next year.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So now it's really a good time if you really want to check, because it's like before the end of before June 30th. That's the end of the fiscal year. Just check it out and see if there's any. You never know.
In the spirit of being helpful with other creators and stuff, I thought I might ask you guys a couple of questions, and try and share some of the stuff that we've learned along the way in making comics. So, the first one I wanted to ask is, what's one of the biggest mistakes or goofs you made along the way? What'd you learn from it?
I think the biggest mistake I ever made was assuming the artist was as dedicated to the project as me. And I went through so many artists before I found Tommy Guns. And it was funny because Tommy Guns was the first person that I talked to about any of it. But he, rightfully so, he costed way more than I could pay. But then I sent him my script and I sent him everything that I had on Bad Wabbit. And he, after going through like 13, 14 artists, I got an email from him and he goes, I finally went through your thing. I saw what you were doing. And he goes, I want to be a part of this because this is awesome. This is fantastic. He goes, don't worry about the money. He was like, this is going to be something. I know it. And he was like, I want to be a part of this. So he's been on board ever since. And he's like, don't let anybody draw a Bad Wabbit except me. He was like, I want to do all the interiors. Don't worry about it. And he said, we'll do an animation when we get it all done. And he was like, I'm in 100%. So it was really hard for me to find a really good artist. Once I did, man, it's like he's like family now. Like, I love the guy.
That's beautiful. That's really
That's something I've seen a lot of people make the mistake, and I try and tell people when they ask me for advice on finding an artist, I'm like, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people anxious to get a shot at doing this, and I'm not saying that they're not good or wouldn't do a great job. Some of them will be the next stars, but I'm like, you're better off finding somebody that does this kind of job regularly and hire them to do it, and you're gonna get a finished product. It might cost a little more than some kid in the Philippines that says he'll do full color pages for $20 a piece.
Yeah.
But he's gonna get a page in and realize how hard this is, and then he's gonna ghost you. And I see people that have lost $300 over and over and over again on all these different artists trying to hire the cheapest guy they possibly can. And I'm like, dude, you could have hired somebody good by this point and had your book done. And I just read a book today that somebody hired somebody else instead of me.
Especially in that to carry out your story. So it's like you really have to think about it that way, where it's just like, if you how far do you see your story going? So when it comes to that relationship of finding an artist, you really got to make sure it's like, do you see it just like that? So that is a beautiful relationship to have. And like you said, you went to 13. And then it's like, but once you found it and someone who believed in it just like you did said, hey, I'm in, look what you got.
I think a lot of these new artists, the ones coming out of college, coming out of art class, they don't really, they know what it takes to make a comic, but once they're making a comic, actually doing it, you can learn everything. You can read a book about oil fields, but when you get out there and actually do it, it's a lot different story. So that's what I'm saying. Like you could go to class and learn everything there is to know about making a comic, but when you're actually doing it,
being able to draw a page is one thing. Being able to draw page after page, day after day, week after week is a whole different grind. And if you're not built for it, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Going back and editing it because the writer's like, no, that's not what I want. And you can't be cocky about it. Oh, that's the way I drew it. That's the way it's going to go. It's like, no, that's the artist. That's the writer's book. You do what they want. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Exactly. If you're paying me to do your book, I want it to be the way you want it to be. Do I want to go back and redraw every page? No, I'd rather not. And if there's something to find, I would rather you find it in the pencils or the inks than after the artwork's all finished. And now I got to change all these layers of color. Take some time. If you need a change, let me know. I'll fix it. But, oh, man.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment with Anthony. I didn't go through 13 artists on my last project. I went through 4 or 5, and I spent a lot of money thinking, oh, I can get this guy, that guy, and I had instances where I thought I had my last project, a really cool project about a gorilla who fights Elvis zombies, and I thought I found this really amazing guy. And he started sending through the first few pages and so forth of art, and it's like, oh, this is cool. We had really good momentum, and then he sent one page through, and it took a little while to get through over the other pages. I was like, why does this start to look like it's been done in AI? And I was looking at it, and I was like, nah, this isn't right. And he literally ghosted me after that. After I was like saying, look, can we do this? Can we go back and do that? And I never heard from the guy again, and I was shattered. Like absolutely shattered, and it sort of took a blow to my own, like, I started questioning everything. But and I had been in touch with the artist Vicar that I'm working on the Ned Kelly project right now, kind of similar to like you, Anthony. And I was like, I don't know what it was. I was like, I wanted to find someone fresh and new, but I was like, no. I went back to her, and she was pricey as well. But like with her, she could see how committed I was to the story and enthusiastic about it, and we came together and we figured out something, between us two to make this happen. And we've got like a really good rapport now. We've got spreadsheets that we go into and we make comments on. It's just finding someone who's consummate enough and who knows their limits. Like she was like, I'm not one of those artists that can work 12 hours a day. I can only do the 7 or 8. And I don't want to burn myself out. And it's like, I'm committed to do that. And then, the next day. So, and she's just like, that's just how she rolls.
I love her. Yeah. I wish I could do, no, I'm 16 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm a video editor. That's my background. And like, I work like 10, 15 hours a day, just day after day. And I have clients coming to me and going, I can't get precious about my work. That's one thing I've learned. You just can't. Like,
I do commend that because it's just like setting a certain time, because that is crazy in video.
I don't know how to do that.
Thing kills me. Like I used to, first the learning curve in and of itself. Like I used to wake up with like WE, so until I finally got it, and then like shortcuts. Thank goodness for shortcuts. But it's just like figuring out a certain block of time instead of trying to do like half day or staying up all night, and I wouldn't feel good about it, and it still wouldn't be what I wanted, and having burnout. But knowing it's like, if I'm able to give this, and this is like my best at this, that is better than trying to say, I'm trying to save like over half a day and do this, and then it just be like, okay. And I still don't feel good about it, but I'm totally drained. It's like,
There's always like in Australia, we have this really weird colloquialism slang thing. It's like, it can wait till tomorrow sort of thing, but they say it in a really bad Aussie accent. But sometimes you think that's a bit lazy, but it kind of makes sense in a way. It's like, give your best.
Overpack everything in one day.
It's get done what matters now, and
exactly
the other stuff can wait. It's prioritizing. That's what it is.
Nice.
So, Lucas, let me ask you: when it comes to like when somebody's talking with you, what would be the number one piece of advice that you tend to give to other creators?
Wow. Really be open to listening to other people within your community and really embracing that. I come up from a background in film and video production, and I'm not trying to dish on the film and video production world. It's just, I feel like when I came from that world, there's a lot of people competing against each other, and there's a little bit of backstabbing that goes on, but that's just the nature of how that industry rolls. And someone might do you over in one sense, and you meet them in another sense, and you smile and you're just happy and content with them. I found when I went into the comic book community, I had a bit of that come with me, and I was like, I'm really apprehensive to share stuff. I don't know if I should reach out to someone and say, how do I do this? How do I do that? And it's been the most warm and welcoming community, that it's been the utmost of like people just literally coming out and hugging you. So I would say to people, creatives in this space, don't be afraid to like reach out to that person that you admire, or you like, oh, that work is great. Absolutely. Or how do I do this? How do I format a book? How do I even go about this process? Like, don't be afraid and nervous about doing it, because it's perfect. Yeah.
because
you don't know what, like for me, it's opened up so many doors. Like I have this great
Oh,
relationship now with this letterer, and he's like a mentor to me. And I was like, I wouldn't have had that if I was just quiet in the corner.
Exactly.
yeah.
I've made so many friends just by messaging people that made the book to be like, dude, this is freaking awesome. And how much do you love it when somebody messages you and says, your book's freaking awesome? I loved it. Like, yeah, absolutely. We'll stop working for 10 minutes so that we can chit chat about how much you like my. Yeah.
See, that's amazing because to me, like the indie community, not just comic indie community, but indie like authors in general have put me where I'm at. Because just to go on tangent, Chris Philbrook, if you guys don't know, Chris Philbrook is an amazing author. I was a fan of his for years before I ever even mentioned talking to him or even tried to reach out to him. He has an amazing book series called Adrian's Undead Diary. It's written in diary form about a man surviving the apocalypse, the zombie apocalypse. It's very, very good if you like that kind of stuff. But I like that kind of stuff. So I was a very big fan of his, and I wrote him one day on Instagram and was like, hey, I would just like to tell you how much I love your books. And most people who are as, esteemed as him don't really write back to the thousands of fans they get. But he wrote me back and was like, man, I really appreciate you telling me that. I love when people love my books. And all, so he started following me, saw me doing my art, trying to like learn how to draw. And I was talking about making a comic book. And he said, do you have a comic book script? I said, I've never written one in my life. And so he was like, write one. So he pushed me, like my favorite author pushed me to write my comic book. And when I sent it to him, I'm like, my first book, right? So I'm like, oh man, I'm sending it to my favorite author. He's going to be like, dude, this sucks. You need to change this. And all he did was write back. He goes, dude, this is fantastic. He said, I want to be a part of this. I want to edit this for you. And I was like, what? It's so now, I mean, it's amazing. And I consider him one of my really good friends now. And he's the editor for all the Bad Rabbit books. And we talk on a regular basis. I mean, I love the guy.
Well, there you go. Look at that.
So
that's so nice.
That's the thing. Like, I forget that I have any fans because, people will like buy the book and they'll tell me it's great. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's my buddy. That's J-Man. We're friends. We talk all the time. I ask him about his mom all the time. Like, we chat every day. I forget I didn't know J-Man until I put out Green Zone issue 1, and he messaged me to tell me that he liked the book, and we got chatting, and now we're friends and we talk. I forget that that's how we met. And as I'm going down, just the other day, I shipped out everything for Green Zone issue 4, and I was going down this list of 116 people, and so many of them have been on every book that I've done over the last 6 years. And, even if we don't talk all the time, like I know these people's names now by heart, and it's so cool that these people dug what I do and they keep coming back, even if it's just a handful of them. That's freaking awesome. And it's been awesome to see that grow, or to see somebody new come on and order a book and then go back and order all the other books because they liked it and they want to see everything else that happened.
Yeah,
it's fun stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like I think it just comes back to that thing. It's just about being kind, being kind and reaching out.
Being kind goes a very long way, and a lot of people don't really understand that. Which is, I mean,
it's not so much being kind. I think it's more being genuine.
Genuine,
I am a very genuine person. I'm an open book. I mean, I'm one of those people that you be like, "How you doing?" and I'll tell you my whole damn thing.
That's good.
And
that's great.
But maybe starting with kind, and then your genuineness will show. So then, by that, they can decide if they want to, what they want to do.
I agree, though. Like, and my stance has always been, if somebody's going to rip me off, if somebody's going to take advantage of me, that says more about them than it does about me. I'm not going to let that change the type of friend that I am. I'm not going to let that change the type of person I am in the community just because somebody else wanted to rip me off. Okay, well, they did that, but I'm still going to be the guy that helps. I'm still going to be the guy that shows up when you have a need. I'm still going to be the guy that sits next to you at the hospital if your dad's in the and getting a surgery. Like, that's just the guy I am. I'm gonna be there for my friends.
Your
I'm gonna help
integrity is
out.
that, so you stick to it. You don't allow
Yeah.
what other people do to change the character of who you are, and that's a wonderful thing. And that's like a lot of people. I feel like if we did more with that, with integrity, just not letting things change who we are, if we stay true to that, I think a lot more things will shine through.
And I wouldn't know any of the awesome things that I know about art or printing or all of the stuff that I know how to do. Like, sculpt giant fiberglass, chili dogs to go outside of your business. I can do all kinds of crazy things because I picked up a lot of skills over the years because people that had those skills were willing to share them and teach me. I'm absolutely going to share that with everybody that I possibly can and help as many people do it. And, are all of them going to succeed? Maybe not. But, I want to be the encourager that helps, not the guy that's like, sit down. Don't get in my way. You can't do it at my speed yet. That's fine. Do it at your speed. You'll get there. Anthony, what is a bit of advice that you give to people the most often?
I think one of the biggest things, and Chris Philbrook taught me, he's been my mentor. He's my Obi-Wan, my Gandalf, he's that to me. And when he first, mentioned writing a script, I was like, well, I've never written the script. And he told me, he's like, go look at some of the formats, how they do it in some of the comic book, scripts, and just write. It's like you're never going to do it if you don't start it. So I sat down and I started. I just was like, once upon a time, and that's the biggest step I think that I've ever taken towards what I'm doing now is starting. And a lot of people will put it off because they're afraid to I'm afraid someone's going to laugh at it, or I'm afraid someone's going to joke about it, or if I show it to my mom and she like, yeah, that's cute, buddy, whatever. And it's like, don't worry about what other people think. It's your story, and if you want to tell it however you want to tell it, that's how you're going to tell it. And I want to express that dearly. Start, just start.
Just start. Punch fear in the face and do it.
And start writing, because there's editors. There's, other, like we've been talking, there's other creators that would help you. We are here to help each other because, with the old saying, rising tides raise all ships.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And I, if I can ever get so awesome that I do like a Bad Rabbit show and I start making millions, you best believe I'm going to be going back and I'm going to be pulling these other indie creators up, because
just believe us, you're already that awesome. It's just the rest of existence in the world trying to catch up with you. So it is already.
There you go. I like that. I like that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just start. That's the main thing I can tell you.
Great.
That's something I'm always telling people is just do it. Start doing it. Like, even if I'm not that fast or blah blah blah. I'm like, if you just got out 1 page a week, if you manage to do that 1 page a week, that's not undoable for most artists.
Yeah.
That's 52 pages at the end of the year. Yeah. Like, that's a fat book or 2 books or, on your way to 3. Like, just start doing it. It's so much better to be that many steps ahead, at the end of the year, at the end of 2 years, 3 years, whatever, if you just start setting aside some time and do it. Maybe not everybody can grind away 16 hours a day like I tend to do. Maybe not everybody can, get out 113 books in 6 years. But, you can do it. Getting out a book a year is impressive. If you put out 1 book a year at the end of 5 years, that's 5 books. That's more than most indie creators ever get out. And
the truth.
That's it. That is one of my biggest pieces of advice that I give people all the time. Another thing I wanted to hit before we wrap up is goals. Like the goals that we're shooting for, things that we want to accomplish. I know I've got a handful of goals that I'm always shooting for, and I'm always moving them. If I hit one, I make myself another one and, keep going. But one of the goals that I'm really shooting for is like, I think it's kind of easy to make somebody like cry if you like kill off a beloved character, or if little Timmy's got cancer. You know, it's easy to make you cry when little Timmy dies at the end of an episode of House. You know, you didn't know this kid 22 minutes ago, and now you're crying because he's dead. Like that's not so hard. But I want to make you cry because my character's heart's broken. Like I want to make you cry, have that emotional response because he's hurting. Like that's one of the goalposts that I'm shooting for, that I want to accomplish. What are some goals that you guys are shooting for? What are some things you want to hit?
I want my character I want people to be emotionally involved with my character. I want them to, by the end of the series, I want everyone to know exactly who Bad Rabbit is, what he's been through, and what he has sacrificed throughout the series to get to the goal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think if you don't have an emotional attachment to any character that you're doing, then why are you even there? Because, you know, like I could watch TV shows and be like, yeah, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of really cool dialogue, but I don't know who this dude is, you know, like, what's going on?
Why would I be invested in what's going to happen to him if I don't care about him?
Exactly. And from the very beginning, like the very first issue, I try to show that there are some aspects to Wabbit that we don't quite know, you know, like he gets KO'd, and during that KO time, he's having a flashback. And he's remembering something from his childhood. It's very traumatic. And you're like, wow, so there's more to this character than just some drunken rabbit in a trailer, you know? Yeah. And so I do that a lot throughout the series. And I want people, by the time it's over, to be like, okay, we fully know who Wabbit is. We fully know why he is the way he is. And we fully understand that, you know, by the end, whatever he does, we understand why he's going to do it. Mm-hmm. You know,
I probably wouldn't be that hot if I'd been through that stuff too. Like that's the thing, when I can have sympathy, like especially like for the bad guy. Me and my son were just talking today about Lex Luthor from Smallville. Like I totally understand how he ends up becoming a bad guy, and can't hate him for it. Like he never really stood a chance with the family he came from, his one shot at a best friend's lying to him all the time. Like I understand completely how he becomes the bad guy, and I thought that was some of the most brilliant writing, because like they made me love Lex Luthor and, you know, feel bad for the bad guy, and that's not an easy thing to do. Lucas, what's a goal you're shooting for?
My goal, wow! I guess a lot of the stories that I'm telling in my Angry Fred Comics brand sort of comes back from my father, and it's very action adventure driven. But the characters I seem to be writing are, you know, very tough on the exterior, but inside there's obviously a lot of demons that they're dealing with, but there's a lot of emotional turmoil that comes out. I feel like one of the goals I'm shooting for is just to sort of maybe personally for me to connect with, you know, I guess some of that trauma growing up as a kid that I had with, you know, certain figures in my life, but sort of letting go of that. But also, you know, showing that to other people out there that are maybe reading my books to say, look, you know, all can be forgiven, I guess, for these characters. These people are human. And I guess with Ned Kelly, it's like he's this interesting character. He sort of tiptoes the line between, you know, hero and villain in the middle, but he was still a human. So I'm really, as a goal, I'm just really interested in, I guess, you know, looking at those characters and looking at the emotionality of certain things, and trying to get a bit of a sentimentality into those things. And I hope readers that read my book will, like, you know, I really appreciate you, you know, diving that, you know, going down that way, and I connected it in that way. For me, it's like if someone can come up to me and say, you know, I really connected with, you know, these characters and on a deeper level, then I feel like my job's done outside of just entertaining people. So yeah.
I love a
Absolutely.
complex
That makes
character.
sense. Yeah.
I love that. It's part of the human experience. It's just wanting
Yeah.
to find that connection, especially when it's like, just like how we have with our Netco, it was just like it transcends, spaces. So even though if you're not in the same country or the same space or on the other side of the world, it still has a connection. And I think that is powerful in and of itself, which is beautiful. And I think that's wonderful to just to find ways to invoke emotion and try to find these goals and ways to do that. Art transcends so many things. So it's really cool to see how you can leave that mark or imprint on other people.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask quickly, just this, and this can be relatively short. Anthony, what's one of the nicest compliments you've gotten from somebody about your books?
I think the best compliment I've ever gotten is from Chris Philbrook. I mean, he was my favorite author before I ever actually met him. And, to send him this first script with so much anxiety behind it, because I had never written one before. And for him to tell me that it was great, to the point where we, did the book together. I mean, he came and stayed at my house and we did a book signing. I mean, to have that encouragement and investment from my favorite author is probably the greatest compliment that I could ever imagine. It's been
That's
awesome.
really awesome.
I'm so happy for you. That is so healing in and of itself. Like, that's amazing. I really love that for you.
Yeah, that's so encouraging. How about you, Lucas? What's the coolest compliment somebody's given you?
Wow. I think just being at like comic book conventions in Australia, I've had when I tell people my story and how the books come to be, like I've just had a lot of people say like good on you for doing this and like just following your passion. Like I think that to me goes a long way, because there's as an artist you're always uncertain about things and you don't know if I'm worthy of this or if I'm good enough, and just to see the smile on some people's faces when they see what you're doing, even if they don't buy your book, they give you a nice compliment. That to me just goes further than any sort of monetary value or anything at all. So, yeah, just knowing I'm doing the right thing.
That's encouraging. No, even if someone to say good on you for doing it, it is kind of like a thing. Like maybe they had a thought or a dream to do it, but you were brave enough to do it. So they see it for you. Like they kind of see a piece of them and you to be like, you actually did it. So like good on you, which is like, that is really cool.
It's funny you say that, because there was one convention I was at, this young guy came up to me, it's like, I want to do what you're doing. Like, how do you do this? Like, how do you even make it happen? I was like, well, I didn't know. I was like, dude, I didn't even know at the start how to do this. And I sat there and I explained it to him. I said, well, this is what you do. This is the process. And that guy I hope that guy went away and, did what he went and did it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But
That's
Well, and even if their dream is to like open a taco truck, like seeing somebody that had a dream and actually brought it to fruition is encouraging for so many people.
When you decide to be yourself, when you decide to continue to just shine in your truth, you allow others to do the same. And that is the greatest thing that you can give to anyone and to yourself, because it's like a ripple effect. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people misunderstand is that if you're willing and capable and able to go that length, don't give up on yourself, because there's a thing, and it's very true to no matter what level of creator you are. It's called the imposter syndrome. And it's a real thing. It's no matter how much people tell you you're doing the right thing, no matter how much people at some point you feel like you don't deserve it. You do deserve it 100%, because you work that hard, and hard work, it pays off.
Everywhere in your creative journey, imposter syndrome is not afraid to pop in and be like,
no.
It is always a reminder.
I'm 113 books in, and all but like 2 of them full color, and I still don't think of myself as a colorist. I still feel like I'm pretending, and I still, every time somebody pays me to do a book, or even now they hire me to just color books sometimes, I keep waiting for them to realize I'm not a colorist and take the money back. But I'm doing it, and people are paying me for it.
I write it, I put it out, I get notifications from Amazon saying both your books are in the #1, you know, this and that, and I'm like,
Amazing.
but are they just being nice? Are they just?
That's the same thing I do when like J-Man tells me how cool the book is. I was like, yeah, well, you're my friend, and I forget that he was a fan first and that he likes the book.
Are they just being nice to me?
Wow.
That is so real. Oh God, that is so true. I got to say personally, one of the coolest compliments that I ever got, other than getting compliments on my lettering, which means a lot because I've put a lot of work into learning that skill, but the best compliment I ever got was a creator that I really admired telling me how much he liked my background characters and how interesting and fleshed out they felt. And that just almost made me cry because like the characters he was talking about in particular, like they only have a couple of lines in the book. They're really just background characters, but like I thought through who these people are. And you know, the one girl is constantly messing with her necklace because it's her dad's dog tags and he's overseas and she misses him and she's always thinking about him and always fiddling with it. And the other girl was like, you know, self-conscious and tall and skinny, so she's always like holding her straps on her backpack and stuff, and you know, and just thought through these characters, you know, from like what they're wearing to who they are to what they do in their spare time. And the fact that somebody else picked up on that really, really, really meant a lot to me. It's a funny little thing, but that's one of the best compliments that I ever got. And I really appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
That is incredible. I mean, it's just like I'm inspired by all of you, and I can even say just in my own time to certain things, like the coolest compliment I've got just from doing YouTube. I really have always been someone who has just been like, I've taught myself. So it's just like the just hit barriers and keep going. So just like the editing thing where it's just like, I had to fight with the learning curve. Like I was like, I'm going to get Adobe, I'm going to get it. And it's like all these shortcuts and all these things. And of course, I look back over the time and one of my friends just said, you know, I really love your progression, just how you share your story. And I was like, for me, I'm in my head, like, I'm just like, there's so much I could be doing. There could be better overlays and there could be better transitions and other things. But the fact that they were just like, you can see how passionate you are about it and how you talk about your things and all about your story. And it's really inspiring because you continue to grow. And I don't know if you see it or not, but it's truly amazing to watch that. And I was just like, that's so
hard to see from the inside sometimes. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it's gotten as big as you might want it to be. And, you know, like, I would love it if I had 500 people backing, you know, my books this time around. But the fact that almost all of the people that backed my book a lot of them backed T-Man and Hyperstrike 6 years ago and have backed, you know, every issue of the Mighty Con, every issue of Green Zone. That really touched me this time around. And for you, Fee, I got to tell you, from the moment I met you, I was struck by A, your intelligence, B, your professionalism, and since I've gotten to know you better, the hard work that you put into stuff. Like when you focus on something, you put the grind in on it. And I have always been really impressed with that, which is why I like calling you my friend. That's why you're the type of person that I want to keep around, because I appreciate the doers. There's a whole lot of talkers out there. There's a whole lot of talkers out there.
I appreciate you, Uncle Fishy.
I appreciate
I love
the
saying
doers.
Uncle Fishy. Like I just like saying Uncle Fishy. I just get so excited to say Uncle Fishy. And so I really appreciate that. It really means a lot. And I feel like I'm behind, but I'm not. I'm not behind. I just need to get back into
you are where you need to be right now.
Yeah. And you are so much further ahead of where you used to be.
Yes,
That's what we focus on. I've been telling myself the same thing. I'm like, I paid the bills today and I hurt my own feelings when I looked at the bank account afterwards. And I was like, I had all these plans of things that I wanted to invest in, and I've got enough money after paying the bills to pay next month's bills and get the books done that I'm working on. Nothing else. And I'm like, dang, there's a lot of stuff I wanted to do. But instead I'm focusing on, I've got enough money to pay next month's bills and get the books done that I need to get done. That's a positive thing. I'm not going to focus on the couple extras I could have done.
It really is.
They'll come when it's time. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for a really interesting conversation. I can't wait to see how far these books go. I can't wait to read these books.
Right.
Let's go around and tell everybody where they can find you again. Anthony, where can they find you at?
You can find me at dmwcomics.com, and you can find me at basically DMW Comics. Anywhere you go, that's me. And but I usually do most of my updates on Facebook. So if you find DMW Comics on Facebook, you'll definitely be able to find me. Fee, I already sent you a friend request.
Okay.
And for everybody on the panel, in the private chat, I sent a link so you guys can download the first and second digital copy of Bad Rabbit, so you guys can, get a really good taste of it. Oh,
right.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like I'm stoked to be here, man. I'm so glad that you had me, and I literally left work like 3-4 hours early just so I could be here because that's how.
There we go.
So,
I hate that you had to do that, but I do appreciate it.
I'm glad I got to go.
Lucas, where can they find you?
So you can find me at angryfredcomics.com. I'm pretty on Instagram and Facebook. So the handle is at angryfredcomics. So you can find me there. Go back. Take a look at my Ned Kelly 5 Revolvers. If it interests you, please. Share it, support it, do what you wish. But angryfredcomics.com. That's where you'll find me. So.
And the links to both these comics should be in the description of the video, so you should be able to just go down there and click it. And I put it in the chat as well. Fee, where can they find you?
You can find me on all platforms at Feline Soleil, and and I'll be there. If you have any questions or just want to chat or something, I'm there. So, and check out my YouTube.
Go subscribe to her YouTube. Come on.
Okay, Uncle Fishy. I have my YouTube where I talk about my inner child, because I believe when we tend to our inner child, we're better people in the world. And I just do everything that kind of honors my inner child and just makes her happy. So join me on that journey.
Good deal. And you can find me at Mr. Fish Comics on all the social media platforms. And GoMrFish.com will take you to the books that I'm working on right now, which right now, GoMrFish.com will take you to the pre-launch page for Alice Lost in Wonderland issues 1 and 2, which will go live at the beginning of May. So go sign up for the pre-launch page. I'm trying to do a run-up this time and get the word out. I don't have COVID this time, and the campaign's fixing to launch. So hopefully I can get more of the word out and get more people signed up so you can be aware when it goes live. I'm going to do an early bird thing this time. Try and make something special for those that show up on the first day. So go sign up for the pre-launch so you don't miss out. Thank you guys for coming in. I really appreciate it. It's been a fun conversation. Can't wait to see how high these books go. Can't wait to read them when they get in. And we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Awesome.